The 90s were a golden age for kids' TV, and not just because of the shows. It was the era when theme songs weren't just background noise, they were events. They grabbed you from the first note, pulled you into their world, and then lived rent-free in your head for the rest of the day. These weren't just jingles, they were cultural landmarks in the Saturday morning battlefield. We didn't have streaming. If you missed an episode, you were out of luck until the rerun months later. But when the jingle hit, everyone in the room turned to the screen. It was your cue to stop pouring milk, drop the Game Boy, and lock in. These are the 10 cartoon jingles that defined a generation, how they sounded, what they meant, and why they'll still pop into your head out of nowhere decades later. Starting at number 10, Animaniacs turned chaos into music. Warner Brothers didn't just make a cartoon here, they made a full-on Broadway musical number disguised as a kid's theme song. It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. Wasn't just a lyric, it was a mission statement. The show's creators actually brought in composer Richard Stone, the man who worked on Tiny Toon Adventures, to make something huge, orchestral, and a little bit unhinged.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max.
Every note was packed with inside jokes, lightning speed rhymes, and winks to the audience. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot weren't just characters, they were ringleaders of a 22-minute circus. And that theme song? It was your ticket. Even if you didn't know every lyric, you shouted the ones you knew. The "Totally Insane" tagline changed every episode, so you had to pay attention just to see what ridiculous phrase they'd slip in. It was clever, it was catchy, and it trained a generation of kids to appreciate rapid-fire comedy and a big musical arrangement. Forget zany to the max, this thing was catchy to the max. Number 9. Hey Arnold made city life cool. Before Hey Arnold, most cartoons were set in generic suburbs. Arnold lived in a city, and the jingle made sure you felt it. Composer Jim Lang layered in funky bass, smooth horns, and that signature "Hey Arnold" chant that made it feel like a block party. The beat had this cool, lazy swagger, like you were walking with Arnold past Mr. Green's butcher shop, dodging Harold in the hallway, or listening to Gerald tell one of his urban legends.
Arnold!
It was mellow, but it had life. Even adults could groove to it without feeling like they were listening to a kid's song. Nickelodeon nailed it by giving the show a sound that matched its heart. Warm, funny, and grounded in real-life friendship. If you were a kid in the 90s, this was the rare theme song that didn't just pump you up, it chilled you out. Number 8. The Magic School Bus made learning an adventure. Most educational cartoons tried to hide the fact they were educational. The Magic School Bus? It blasted you with funky horns, wild percussion, and Ms. Frizzle voice actor Lily Tomlin daring you to take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. The theme, sung by Little Richard himself, wasn't just good, it was cool.
Surfing on a sine wave, swinging through the stars. Take a left at your intestine, take your second right past.
It told you straight up, this isn't boring school, this is school with lava pits, time travel, and trips inside your own digestive system. Kids didn't memorize the science, they memorized the beat. And when that chorus hit, right on the Magic School Bus, you couldn't help but yell like you were on board. The show snuck in actual science lessons, but the jingle made you want to learn. Not because you had to, but because you wanted to see where the bus would take you next. Number 7. Pinky and the Brain made world domination catchy. One is a genius, the other's insane. Now that is how you start a theme song. The spin-off from Animaniacs had a jingle that perfectly explained the premise in under 30 seconds. Pinky was the lovable idiot. Brain was the scheming mastermind, and together they'd fail to take over the world every single night.
Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane.
The humor was baked right into the music. The orchestra swelled like some epic spy thriller, then crashed into slapstick comedy beats. It was a tonal roller coaster, just like the show. For a lot of kids, this was their first taste of a villain as the main character, and the song sold it. You didn't just watch Pinky and the Brain, you rooted for them. Number 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles turned sewers into the coolest place on Earth. Heroes in a half shell, turtle power. When the TMNT cartoon hit in the late 80s and kept rolling through the early 90s, the theme song was already an instant classic. But here's the genius. It didn't just hype you up, it taught you the lore. In under a minute, you knew who Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo were, what they did, and why Shredder should be scared. The beat was fast, the chorus was impossible not to yell, and it made sewers seem like an epic underground fortress. Every kid with a stick was suddenly a ninja. Every slice of pizza felt like a TMNT-approved meal. The jingle didn't just stick in your head, it built an entire lifestyle around it. Number 5. Power Rangers created a 2-word adrenaline trigger. Go, go, Power Rangers! That's it. That's all it took to make every kid in America ready to fight imaginary monsters in the living room. The guitar riff was pure 90s metal. The pace was relentless and the chant was hypnotic. Composer Ron Wasserman cranked out a theme that sounded like it belonged in a stadium. And it worked! Every time the intro played, you felt like you were about to see the most important battle of your life. It was also one of the first times a live-action kids show had a theme that could stand toe-to-toe with cartoons. Even if you grew out of the show, that riff could still make your heart race years later. Number 4. Gargoyles made Saturday mornings feel cinematic. This wasn't your average Saturday morning fluff. Gargoyles was dark, moody, and epic, and the theme matched it perfectly. Composer Carl Johnson gave it an orchestral sweep that felt like it belonged in a feature film. No lyrics, just a swelling, dramatic build that promised mystery, danger, and big stakes.
Now here in Manhattan, the spell is broken, and we live again.
When the stone gargoyles cracked to life in the opening sequence, the music made it feel like you were watching something important. Kids who loved it will tell you, this wasn't just another cartoon, it was an event. Number 3. The Tick proved absurdity can be heroic. Some superhero themes take themselves seriously. The Tick? Not so much. The brass fanfare blasted like it was introducing a legendary savior, only for that savior to be a giant blue goofball with questionable crime-fighting skills. The exaggerated vocals and big band swagger made the whole thing feel like a parody of classic superhero intros. And that was the point. The Tick didn't just fight crime, he made fun of it, and the jingle sold that from the first note. Number 2. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers turned teamwork into a rally cry. Chip, 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 Chip and Dale. If you were a 90s kid, you can't not hear that in your head right now. That Disney afternoon classic had a theme song that was pure kinetic energy. From the first drum hit, you were ready for adventure. The lyrics were a mission statement. These guys will always come through when there's danger. It also had that magic Disney polish. Catchy enough for kids, slick enough to stick in parents' heads. And it worked. The jingle wasn't just an intro, it was a promise that the next 22 minutes would be fast, fun, and full of clever escapes. And finally, at number 1 on our list, The Simpsons created the most recognizable cartoon opening in history. Didn't even need words. Danny Elfman's quirky, brassy score was a perfect match for Springfield's most dysfunctional family. Every second of the opening sequence, from Bart's chalkboard gags to Lisa's saxophone solo, became burned into pop culture. By the time the family dove onto the couch, you weren't just ready for the episode, you were ready for an American institution. It's not just the most famous 90s cartoon theme, it's one of the most famous TV themes ever made. They weren't made to be background noise, they were built to be unforgettable. They introduced characters, set the tone, and got you emotionally ready before the first scene. And in the 90s, you couldn't skip them, but you didn't want to. For a generation of kids, these jingles were the show, and decades later, they're still the fastest way to time travel back to a Saturday morning. A bowl of sugary cereal, and the feeling the best part of the week was just getting started.